viewers at home are in for a treat. This year we're fortunate to have Julie Walker with us. Welcome, Julie, to the VVH team.
Well, thank you very much. I'm excited to be here. You know, I was here the first year of the festival. Another day, another film here at the Hamptons Film Festival, and WVVH-TV is bringing them all to you.
And the films just keep on coming, and the filmmakers and the celebrities. Action-packed day ahead. If we look a little bleary-eyed this morning, it's because of that exquisite party last night, the opening night kickoff party.
That was fun, and I actually need a cup of coffee, so anybody who wants to bring me one, I'd be very happy. That was a fun party.
Well, we're fortunate to have a guy that is Mr. Hampton's, Bob Balaban.
Oh, Mr.
Hampton's.
Bob Hampton Balaban, yeah.
Opening night movie Balaban.
Yeah.
Welcome, first of all, to the film festival.
Do you have to do this, or is this sufficient?
No, this is fine. This is good.
Okay.
We could shave with it, I guess. Right. But Bob, you are not only a board member on the board of the.
Yes, I've been on the board for about 12 or 13 years, and have been lucky enough to have another movie open the festival. I think we did about 10 or 12 years ago, right. And I am so happy to be here again doing this since I happen to be here anyway.
But you brought a blockbuster for the opening night. I happened to see it, and it is Doris and Bernard.
Well, we call it Bernard and Doris, but if you call it Doris and Bernard, I won't hate you.
Well, I'm dyslexic, so
it is. Well, Doris, you would think would get first, billing Doris Duke being Doris, the incredibly rich and interesting and quirky lady who is no longer with us, and Bernard being Bernard Lafferty, her butler, who came in 1987 to be her butler, and by 1993 she was dead and he was in charge of her $1.3 billion estate, leaving a lot of people wondering, well, what happened in those 6 years? We made up a story about what happened between the two of them, since there was a lot written about the headlines of her life, but nobody really knows what was going on between the two of them. So we invented a movie for Susan Sarandon, the brilliant, fabulous actress who is brilliant and fabulous as Doris, and Ralph Fiennes, the equally fabulous and wonderful actor.
Sure.
And we wanted to, it came out as a kind of an odd love story between the two of them.
The chemistry between the two of them is unbelievable.
Well, I'm glad you
And
thought
the way
that.
it was shot, very lush, and at times your heart goes out for both, even though she's a poor little rich girl and had billions of bucks. But just the way those two lives sort of intermeshed, and
it was an amazingly coincidental situation. Bernard came to replace the butler who had left Doris Duke. This is true, actually.
Bad cantaloupe, boys and girls. That's what
well, we don't know that it was the cantaloupe that did it, but it might have been something like that. And Bernard really wasn't a butler. He had walked Elizabeth Taylor's poodles for a while. He used to work at a hotel in Philadelphia. And he got hooked up with Peggy Lee for a while. We have a lot of Peggy Lee songs and references in the movie because he was kind of her aide-de-camp. I mean, he went around with her and held the sheet music and opened doors for her and helped make her travel arrangements. And he arrives on her doorstep. She pays absolutely no attention to him. And they did end up having this very unique relationship. And probably confounding all the headlines, but depending on what you think.
Well, Doris had an amazing history. Rubirosa's.
She was married to Porfirio Rubirosa of the famous, which we can't really talk about depending on how your show is rated.
Well, let's talk about it in the restaurant statute.
Yes.
The pepper grinder in a restaurant they call a Rubirosa.
Well, they don't. I don't know if they do it now, but they did when he was alive.
Oh, all right.
He was sexually famous.
I think they still call it that at the Friars Club.
They might, but there's a lot of older people there, and they might remember.
True.
Yeah. And she was married one other time, but other than that, she had a series of a vast variety of boyfriends throughout the rest of her life. She was very, very suspicious, wisely so. I mean, her father had said before he died, when she was probably in her, by the time she was 10, her father was already reminding her, be careful, don't trust people, they're going to be after you because of this fabulous amount of money, which was a large amount of money, and she was very famous, and really resented and hated being known as the richest girl in the world. It was not a title she enjoyed having.
Also, she was like one of the first female surfers, right?
She was good for you for knowing that. Yeah, she loved Hawaii. She had a fantastic house, which is still there. It's a museum. She collected fantastic Asian art, which a lot of it is in her house in Hawaii. And she had a torrid affair with a prince, I believe, a Hawaiian, some form of Hawaiian guy who might have been some form of royalty.
His first name was Duke, coincidentally.
Yes, it was. Good for you. Did your homework you did. Good.
I have a pornographic memory, I think. No, photographic memory, I'm sorry. But the idea of doing it, the genesis of that idea, your fascination to go ahead with this project, what kicked it off for you?
Well, I always thought Doris was a fascinating character. And
did you meet her?
No, I didn't meet her, but I have a few friends who were pretty close with her, actually. And anybody who really was her friend never talked about her very much because she was private and she didn't really like to be talked about. My friend Eileen Maisel, an executive at New Line, sent me the script a couple years ago. I thought it was a great taking off place because I love the idea of telling us a very, very private story about an incredibly public person about whom almost nothing was known privately. So we got to make up something. We kind of were following our instincts based on, as we delved further, what we knew, what we imagined. And it just fascinated me that we were actually going to do an affectionate piece about Doris and Bernard. So much that was written about both of them was fairly harsh or not exactly warm and fuzzy. This is still not exactly easy all the time, but it's definitely it's affectionate, yeah, which we did feel very much towards both of them.
And the thing of the way your style of direction, who influenced you as a director?
Finishing by 12 Hours was very influential on me. Not spending any money. This is a movie about the richest woman in the world that was made for $500,000. So
wow,
we had to just be as inventive as we possibly could. And looking back on it, the fact that we can't follow her incredible lifestyle and take you to the restaurants and the famous places that she went, you hear about them. We have letters back and forth knowing about it. But it compressed us, and it really made us focus on what did we really have anyway. Two of my favorite actors who loved working with each other, and as you said, did, to me anyway, seem to have an amazing chemistry on screen together.
Right there.
Yes, Miss Duke? Just here?
Yes.
Will that be all, ma'am?
Yes. What? Who the hell are you, anyway?
Lafferty.
I assume you have credentials?
Sure.
Elizabeth Taylor, Peggy Lee. What? You have a thing for entertainers, Mr. Rafferty?
Lafferty. Beg your pardon, Miss Duke. It's Lafferty with an L.
It says that you haven't worked for 6 months.
I had a wee health problem.
Drugs or alcohol? I assume it's under control.
I sure it's all in the past now.
Right. Well, Mr. Rafferty, I really don't care what you do on your own time. Just don't let me catch you drinking my wine.
Yes, ma'am. Thanks, Miss Duke.
Stay tuned and watch the stars come out here on WVVH-TV, the official station of the Hamptons International Film Festival.
Stay with us.
I'm Greg. How you doing, dear?
I'm Blake.
Blake, welcome to East Hampton.
Thank
Welcome
you
to
so
the
much.
Hampton Film
Thank
Festival.
you.
And it's a delight to have you here.
Thank you.
What's your
It's nice to be
impression
here.
of the East End so far?
Oh my gosh, it's beautiful. I just arrived here 20 minutes ago. Never been to the Hamptons before, so.
I'm pretty sure you'll be here again for sure. We welcome you.
Thank you.
The movie is unbelievable, and really impressed with your work there.
Thank you.
It's terrific. Looked like a lot of fun. Was it a lot of fun to do?
It was. It was very stressful because we had 24 days to shoot it. Half of our crew were Texas film students who'd never been on a set before. So just having that atmosphere, it was a little tough at times, but it was so amazing. The characters that we were given, the writing was so great. Our other actors were so incredible. It was just a really terrific experience.
It was a modern-day fairy tale, and it felt... but did it feel like that, actually executing the picture? Looked like a lot of fun.
Yeah, it really did. Just the locations we were shooting in, getting into the carnival and being on the beach. And the good thing about it being an independent film was that we didn't have a huge crew, so everything was very intimate. So it really did feel like a fairy tale.
And your next project, what's your next project?
I'm working on a TV show right now called Gossip Girl for CW, and I just shot Sister of the Traveling Pants 2, which will be coming out next summer.
Well, you have a multitude of people awaiting you. I welcome you to the Hamptons, Blake. Have a lot of fun. Get down to the ocean.
Thank you.
Okay, don't adjust your television. What you're seeing now is, yes, a frame of big, curly, black hair.
It's true. It's not your TV. But remember that great, My Name is Runalenska. What was that woman when I was growing up in the 70s? And she was an actress from, and she had this big crazy hair, and she's like, my hair is naturally red. Don't adjust your television set. I don't know. She did something really hilarious, but I can't remember her real name. It's like Rula Lenska is an Eastern European sort of sounding name. Do you know who I'm talking about?
I have no idea, but
Okay,
tell everybody
whatever.
who you are. Tell them you're not really my sister.
Okay, my name is Tamara Jenkins, and I'm here at the Hamptons Film Festival with my movie that's screening right now inside there.
Savages.
It's called The Savages, starring Laura Linney, Philip Seymour Hoffman, and
all-star cast.
And Philip Bosco, all great New York theater actors and film actors.
What's the plot? Tell us a little bit about the plot of the movie.
The story is about two adult siblings who, Laura and Phil, Wendy and John are their characters' names, who out of the blue, their father is their estranged father is sort of lobbed back into their life, and he's unwell and elderly, suffering from dementia, and he never took care of them as children, and they're suddenly forced to sort of take care of this person that never took care of them, and they put him in a nursing home. So you say that on the surface and it sounds like the grimmest film on the planet, but it's actually quite, it's a very irreverent treatment of this subject. It's not a treacly story. It's actually quite blunt, and there's, and as in real life, when people are in such a kind of flayed situation, such a sort of primal situation, there's actually a lot of, unexpected humor that is kind of braided into it. So
there are some lighter moments in it. It is a serious subject matter, but it's so well acted, and there are some lighter moments that are a bit uplifting.
Yeah, well, it's just it's not like an applique of like, gags or something, but it's just a certain kind of tone that's very specific. And I guess when you say the movie without knowing what the tone is, it sounds like it's like a sentimental, like kind of weepy movie that you'd see on, I was going to say that you'd see on television, but we're on television, and there's nothing wrong with television, and I watch it myself, but
Hi, welcome to the Hamptons, Lauren Bacall. It's so wonderful to have you here. Tell us about your new movie, The Walker.
The Walker, well, I'm about to see it. I'm looking forward to it. I haven't seen it yet. I had a great time making it. We all really got along well, and it's a very interesting, many-faceted movie with some very talented people.
Woody Harrelson.
Lily Tomlin, Kristen Scott Thomas, and myself.
And it's a bit of a murder mystery set in Washington, true story, right?
You'll see.
It's white. Something about being a this pink stripe.
Charlie.
Wow.
He thinks he's the only one who has any taste.
He sees himself as quite the aesthete, but when she's done with him, he'll be eating red meat and women.
And what about you? You talk about everyone else, but you never talk about yourself.
I'm not that interesting.
I mean, you do have a private life.
I'll let you in on a little secret. I've invented my own sex. See how they hushed? Absolutely hushed when I leaned forward, all those big ears wondering what old Carl was saying.
Look who's on the cover of Hamptons magazine. It's Marcia Gay Harden, who happens to be with us right now, along with Allison Eastwood. They're here to present their film at the Hamptons Film Festival, Rails and Ties. Welcome.
Thank you. It's good to be here.
Thank you.
First, let's talk about your film. Marcia, you star in it. So tell us what the film is about.
Oh, it's a beautiful film called Rails and Ties. Kevin Bacon, myself, and a fabulous little newcomer that Allison found named Miles are in it. And it's about people's... Everybody's going to say it's about a different thing. I think it's about what happens when people's lives become derailed by huge events, tragic events, and how they get back on path and find joy and meaning in their life. And in this case, Kevin is a train engineer whose train unwittingly hits a suicidal car on the tracks, and I'm a character who has just been diagnosed as her cancer's not in remission anymore. She's terminal. And then the film is tracking us as we sort of go down and then come back up. But Allison, what do you think it's about? Because you directed it.
It's a comedy, and there's some musical numbers. No, you know, it's hard to put in a nutshell, but we've kind of discussed this, and I do think it is a little bit about the fact that people can kind of derail in so many different levels, relationships, or in their work, or in their health, and then they come to find themselves back kind of on track, but in really kind of strange circumstances. And you know, life throws us a lot of curveballs, so it's a little bit about how these three people kind of come together under very kind of, you know, somewhat tragic circumstances.
It's definitely an emotional film. It really can tear at your heart at times. And, you know, I mean, I would imagine that other people seeing it have also cried. So what...
Really? Yeah, it is emotional.
The subject matter is very deep and very heavy, and that's actually something, Marcia, that you're known for. You know, you do take on these very challenging...
You make people cry, Marcia.
Well, because you're such a great actress, you make people believe you, so they cry. But you take on these challenging roles. How did the two of you end up hooking up together?
You tell, Al.
Oh, I don't know. Maybe I want to be funny, but I had a little dark alley sketch where we hooked up, and then she decided to do the film. We, you know, I had heard that Marcia had read the project and liked it, and we started discussing it, and it became something where we both, you know, had ideas and kind of vision, and kind of went from there. And Kevin had also responded to the project, and then it got to be kind of a threesome with all of us kind of discussing it and having our own, you know, kind of take and kind of passion for the characters and the story.
Marcia, what was it like working with Allison, who happens to be a first-time director, but she was an actress and brings that to the table?
Well, as a first-time director, it's not a negative in any way. Allison's super smart, and so that's the first thing that you understand when you're talking to her. Dedicated to the characters, really wanted it to be authentic, told me she wanted my character to feel like she was someone on the block, a girl next door, so to speak. But I hate to say girl next door because then I always think Julia Roberts, and I'm like, no, not that one, not that girl next door, just like the completely... You walk down the street, hey, how you doing? While you're walking the dog. That girl.
A real person, you know, a real person. The girl next door always has like a cute little frock on.
That's what I mean. Yeah. Yes, the girl next door without the frock.
Yeah,
no, not that either.
The girl next door without, you know, all the makeup and the ringlets and the frock and yeah.
And so I love that there was this potential to be completely authentic while one told the story. So often I think that when you're doing a film about someone who's sick or dying or whatever, there's this onus to be beautiful or exotic, sort of as if the audience can't take seeing themselves. And there's that great line, hold the mirror up to nature, the Shakespearean line, and therein lies the truth. And that's kind of what Allison wanted to do. And so as a result, to go to your question earlier about people crying, people come up to us on the street and they grab us and they shake us and they say, "You got it, you got it." And then they'll tell their stories about someone in their family who just passed away, or a woman in the screening we had the other night said, "I had breast cancer and it is in my bones now." And she burst into sobs and she said, "You got it. Thank you, thank you." And that's more the response we're getting. It's not a kind of, tugging from the audience. We just want to see your tears. If you cry, it's great. If you don't cry, that's okay too. But if you feel, that's what's important. And that we can be illuminative about people's experiences in life and somehow help them heal. That's what's important. So I think you asked me about working with Allison, and all that was clear that that's what she wanted to do when she spoke to me the first time. And I thought, then this is absolutely perfect, and I want to be here and support her voice. And she's very, very, everybody always talks about, you have to talk about Clint Eastwood because he's a legend and she's his legendary daughter. And I felt like, okay, this is what she got from him. She comes in under budget and on time, which there's only one other person in Hollywood, her dad, who does that. And then, but there's a tenderness and a vulnerability about Allison when she's directing. You really saw it with the boy, but with us too. There's just a extraordinary capacity to love and understand people's vulnerability that I didn't know she would have, because when I first saw her, I'm like, oh, she's very skinny and beautiful and blonde. I hate her. I wish she was dumb, but she's not. Clint Eastwood's daughter, maybe some dysfunction there. I don't know.
Oh God, let's not go there.
We won't go there at all.
That's another show. That's a Dr. Phil show.
But it's not. She's so normal.
You come from a Hollywood family. And what does that give to you in terms of your ability as a director, as an actress? What have you taken away from your experience growing up in Hollywood, in a powerful Hollywood family?
I think, obviously it kind of feels natural to me to be involved in the business somehow, whether it was acting or producing and now directing. But, I think I took away mostly that, it's such a collaboration, and it's important for me, as opposed to, you kind of hear horror stories from time to time about these directors, and, they're just so one-track mind. I know we keep using train analogies.
I know you can't help it.
I can't help it. But we, it's really just that, to find great actors and a great crew and great, full cast, and to be able to really trust them and know that they're smart and that they have great ideas, and to work with them and be supportive and, find a way to really make the best film you can do.
It's a beautiful film, and I think a lot of people are going to want to come see it.
Well, congratulations to both of you.
Thank you.
Lay down underneath the starry sky.
Remember the first time you spoke to me? My first train ride.
Let our inhibitions run free.
Are you okay?
I was pretending that we were a family.
Used to be so simple, black and white. The right thing to do and the wrong thing to do.
Life is more like a gray area, Tom.
Not everything. Some things you know for certain.
I'm here with a guy that invented this forum, and Phil, it's an honor. Phil Donahue, it's an honor to have you here in our humble studio here at the Palm.
Nice to be here, Greg. Thank you.
It's terrific. And if you do a Google search on Phil Donahue, he did it all, from the talk show circuit to inventing the forum that we kind of look today as mainstream television. You really did it in those days when you were kind of swimming against the stream. What was it like in those days? I mean, just with that forum.
Well, we weren't sure what we had, There was nobody like us. We had no band. We had no desk, no couch, no announcer. We did have a studio audience. We were also in Dayton, Ohio. We had very little power. Stars did not come rushing to Dayton, Ohio. So we had to survive on issues. And all of a sudden, what happened was an audience that we inherited, we just I realized that they were asking some very good questions during the commercials, so I just grabbed a mic one day and went out in the audience, and 29 years and 6,000 shows later, I'm still standing. Yeah, we did over 6,000 shows.
That is unbelievable. And you kind of broke through that third wall. You actually, before the days of involving the feedback direct, you know, one of the things they used to have in the, they'd have the orchestra in the pit, and the deeper pit was the audience. And it was like a moat that never kind of breached.
True. If you went to a television show, you sat in the audience, as we are, and the event was happening over there, but between us were cameras.
Right, big cameras.
Yeah, and you had to go like this to see what was happening. And all we did was put the cameras back here.
And look at the audience.
You know, put the audience up front. And then, of course, we had cameras back there to get them when they stood up. And the audience saved us. I mean, the audience was our answer to having no band.
Talking about this film, The Body of War, it's an 88-minute feature-length movie, and it's going to be at the UA at 9 p.m. on October 19th, and the 20th at the Southampton, Screen 2 at 6 p.m.
Yeah, it'll be 9 o'clock on Friday night, 6 o'clock on Saturday.
A little thumbnail on this, and this is your first attempt at the...
I've never made a movie before.
Will you make another movie?
Well, let's see how we, you know, we're still...
All right, first let's get through this one, right?
Yeah. I mean, this is a contact sport movie making, I'm telling you, and in a big, exciting ride. I mean, this is really a rush.
What made you do it?
Well, I met a young man at Walter Reed Army Medical Center outside Washington.
Right.
And I just thought, I can't pat this kid on the head and disappear. I mean, I want people to see this, you know, see the pain. Don't sanitize the war. I mean, that was my inspiration, was the picture of the naked child running from the napalm. Do you remember that?
That's right, sure.
Screaming, totally stark naked, and you could see the smoke in the background.
Right.
That photograph won a Pulitzer Prize.
Right.
As it should have. This is the opposite of what's happening to us today. We have a sanitized war. Nobody has to sacrifice, and our taxes will be reduced. This is just amazing. Anyway, this film is a close-up look at how we got here. How did we get to this place? And one of the consequences of certainly a massive blunder of a foreign policy decision. This kid can't walk. He is a T4, bullet exited, you know, severed his spine. He is paralyzed from the chest down. So it's our attempt to show what is happening behind the closed doors of thousands of homes across this country. This is not the only victim. We have more than 25,000 life-altering injuries from this war, and nobody sees them. Nobody talks about them. You know, it's...
And like any war, it's a waste of young, vibrant sons and daughters.
And it was so unnecessary.
Absolutely.
And the Congress ignored the Constitution. I mean, we just walked away from everything we give prizes for. Why I'm proud to be an American. I mean, my goodness, high school kids write their essays. And then the people who salute the flag the most fervently are the first ones to turn their back on the Constitution. I mean, only Congress can declare war. I can't wait for you to see our film, because we take the radical position that we ought to obey the Constitution.
Well, absolutely.